DJI Needs Our Help, drone ban update. Got that coming up next. Bill, the drone reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night, I hosted Broder Talk Live and was joined by Mr. Marcus Crawford and Mr. Ron Brown. We spent the better part of the evening discussing all the latest regarding the DJI drone ban update, including DJI reaching out and asking for help from the drone community. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We're going to start here. DJI Needs Our Help, and I got two articles that I want to go over before we get to the actual topic that kind of lead into this here. So now this is the first one, and trust me, I think you guys will all see. You know, we're going to kind of connect the dots here. All right. Now, Skydio's X10 drone makes the DoD's blue UAS list. Okay.
Right.
Ask what the blue UAS list is. Okay. X10D's anointment as blue UAS member offers a doable advantage to Skydio and other manufacturers on the list. For starters, provides a ready-made and reserved base of potential business opportunities among defensive agencies and contractors. Inclusion is also considered an official vouchsafe for data security of UAVs selected for the list, even for non-military operators. A fact all the more poignant amid the political campaigns of protectionist blacklisting of DJI craft. Okay, this is the first article, and again, this is out on the site, and you guys can go ahead and take a look at it. Now, there's another one that I want to get to here. Okay, yeah. This is another one that kind of just fits right in with this right here. And I think you guys probably touched on this last night too. Amazon gets FAA beyond visual line of sight approval for Prime Air drone delivery. Okay. Amazon announced it received FAA approval for BVLOS operations, which it says will now allow it to scale drone deliveries in existing locations and prepare for expansion elsewhere. The authorization should remove what has been of lately arguably the biggest drag on Prime Air finally taking off after a decade. Company founder Jeff Bezos first revealed his vision to UAVs quickly dispatching product orders to customers' homes. Okay, that's the part two. Now we're going to get to part three here, and if you took a look lately, all right, and it really kind of got me. You know, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Twitter a lot. That's probably, besides Facebook, I'm out there quite a bit. And
you mean X?
Well, X, yeah.
I call it Twitter too, Bill.
Yeah. But Elon would have my head for that. So, all right.
Just don't call it Threads.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. DJI put this out there. All right. And it says a bill against DJI is expected to move in the U.S. Congress in June, which would impact U.S. operators' access to DJI drones. This applies to recreational, commercial, and government use. If DJI's FCC authorizations are revoked, U.S. operators will no longer be able to access new DJI drones, and their existing drone fleets may even need to be grounded. The bill is based on inaccurate claims and contradicts a technology-based policy approach that would raise the bar on drone security overall. Excuse me. To learn more, click on the links below. Okay, and you know. And we've done this and we've talked about it. And in my last video, I showed how to go out there and contact your congressman to do that. And I want to say a couple things before we get into things right here. Okay. Number one, I had a comment that somebody had left on my last video about the DJI drone ban. Said, why contact your congressman? What good will it do? Well, you know what? Okay. It's when people, and I didn't put the example up there on purpose, but it's when people like that say things like that nothing gets done. Okay, collectively, when we speak as a voice out there and do this, it makes a difference. All right. And number two, okay, this should kind of raise everybody's alarm bells a little bit. I would say when you go out to Twitter and you see DJI actually post this out there. All right, this should say this is a flag. We need to pay attention to this. Okay. Now, I've not only sent the email to my congressman, I've sent the email to the other one to my senators, and it was about the tariff as well, too. And I've also called my congressman up, and I've talked to an aide, and actually got my name, email address, and phone number to get that registered with my congressman. And, this is not a time to, muddle around with this, because you know what? Ron, Marcus, myself, all of you out there, we love our hobby. All right. We love our profession. All right. You know what? I don't want this taken away from me. Okay. I don't want to have to say, now I love ham radios. Don't get me wrong. But you know what? I don't want that to be my main hobby. I want to have multiple hobbies. And this is my main multiple hobby right here is this. Guys, floor is open for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let Ron go first.
Yeah, we've been saying this for weeks, months, or whatever, that this supposed DJI drone ban is totally on there's no facts. Any of the claims they make about the sending data to the Chinese military and so on, but I believe, was it today? It was this week. It's going to go on the floor. The bill is going to go on the floor someplace, I don't know if it's going to be voted on, but read or something. So it's inching closer to the finish line. When the finish line is Joe Biden's desk. When it hits his desk, and I'm not being political. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Biden, Richard Nixon, Franklin Roosevelt. If it's on their desk, they're probably going to sign it.
Right. One of the things, it has to go
closer to that point.
Yeah, if the House passes it, it still has to go to the Senate. Okay.
Right. Again, it's inching. It's nowhere near the finish line, but it's a little bit closer than it was the last time we talked about it. And the only way it's going to be stopped is senators and congressmen. They know that they received a whole bunch of mail or email or text or whatever, that don't want it to be passed, and have those people consider, well, these are my voters or whatever. I better look out for them.
Well, so let's just face the fact here that if it passes, it's the end of the drone hobby in the United States. It really is. There's no, what are you going to buy? It's all Chinese drones, so you can't even buy a Hubsan or a Potensic or a Holy Stone or whatever. It's going to end all of them, right? Because
I'm going to cut you off here, but it's going to be interesting. If they want to stop DJI, but the day it passes, I would have gone down to the Walmart and watched the stock guys take every drone off the shelf, because every drone in that Walmart is made in China. I want to see that happen. Who's going to enforce it if they don't pull them off the shelf?
Yeah, so it effectively ends the consumer part of drones. I suppose you could still buy a commercial drone, but they know.
Or you can fly your Skydio.
I could fly my Skydio, but the point of it is they don't sell them anymore. That's my point.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to be able to buy a consumer level drone. So it effectively ends the hobby. And
until the 5 years when the American drone companies pick the slack up, according to the bill.
If they do, let me finish my thought. Yeah. So what I hate to say this, I hate to sound, it's going to make me sound really pessimistic, but is this a roundabout way to get the average just hobbyist out of the air, right? If you can't register them. If they take away the FCC license for the drones, you can't fly them, right? The ones you have, you can't fly. So it would effectively clear the airways for commercial use only. And Ron, I hope that there would be an American company that would jump in and start making consumer drones. But there's nobody right now. There's absolutely nobody. So they'd be starting from square one. How many years would it take before we got to the quality of the product that we get from DJI right now?
And the prices we have now.
Yeah.
So,
your only other choice is to spend then $10,000 on a commercial drone, which, by the way, is going to have a crappier camera than what you have on your drone. So
and Bill, a lot of these things when a lot of these bills go through the Congress and Senate, even if it is pushback from the consumers, maybe all that buys is they take some stuff out of the bill. You know what I mean? Like the bills,
Right.
not as severe. Like maybe the tariff's only 15% instead of 30, or maybe they don't remove the FCC approval for current drones. It's only future drones or whatever.
Right.
I mean, that's usually what happens. These things, they usually don't get wiped out totally. They just get watered down a little bit or whatever, which isn't good for us either.
But Ron, I'm sitting on a fortune back here then, because the price would go up.
Well, okay.
That's true. That's true. Well, you're sitting on fortune with your Skydio if total bill goes through.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And another thing, and the way the bill currently is structured right now, what you're looking at would be allowed, okay? Because Spectre Air and the Mini are made in Malaysia, all right?
Oh yeah.
They're not made in China.
Not about that.
So they would be allowed. So you would be able to do this. And I did hear from my rep.
Not with Chinese components. Not with Chinese components.
Well, see, it didn't say it's just where it's assembled is what the bill states right now. It's not the China. And I get what you're saying because what Randall Warness, okay, with the ANSI Robotics, it's all DJI components, but they're assembled in the United States. So.
Hey, Bill, I'm going to cut you off, but can we answer Richard's question, Chad? Richard said, he's like the fourth comment back. He said, isn't the ban issue limited to DJI? And I understand it to be all Chinese drones. Do I have that right, Marcus?
That's my understanding as
Bill,
well.
is that your understanding too? It's all Chinese drones, it's not just DJI?
I think it's DJI, guys. I do. I think
it's
the language of the bill is very specific. Yeah, she's real specific. They're really honing in. And one of the things, why I showed those two articles, okay, before we went into it, okay, this is, I think, the crux of the issue, or we're looking at a couple pieces of the pie, okay. You see that article about Skydio and them getting Blue UAS approval, all right, and then you see Amazon Air, okay. It has nothing to do with the security concerns of DJI drones, okay? It was a smokescreen from the get-go, okay? They knew they had no leverage and no footage, okay, with that, because there's been at least 3 or 4 independent audits by big 8 CPA companies that there's no security breaches, okay, with DJI drones. There's none, okay? It's just a bunch of smoke and mirrors with that. The real big concern was, okay, it's market share, it's product, it's who's getting this money. So
yeah, I mean, it's the guy that used to work for Stefanik. He wrote the bill. He's the guy that has connections to Skydio and a lot of government agencies.
Yeah. So this whole thing about it being a security concern, that it's not true. It is absolutely positively
or totally unproven if it is.
Exactly. Okay. And you made a good point. If this gets to Biden's desk, okay, it'll be a watered down version of what it is right now. Okay. For example, okay, they may allow consumer drones. Okay. They may allow existing consumer drones, but not allow, corporate type drones. Okay. Or anything above a consumer level type drone in that instance, because, and if you think about it, the real money for drones is not in consumer drones, it's in commercial and above consumer drones. That's where they make their money. I mean, look what Skydio did. All right. Look what part
of that's because you could compete with Skydio on the enterprise. I mean, you could compete with DJI on the enterprise level, but nobody could compete with them on the consumer level. They had the market locked down at consumer, but they don't dominate the enterprise as much.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
well, not kind of changing.
How about Lauren's comment? Remind anyone of the Salem witch hunt?
Yeah. It's exactly right. I mean, it really is. This is just,
And Bill, somebody else brought this up in another thing or whatever. Why is this DJI ban only happen in the U.S.? If they do the spying, aren't they spying on other countries too? Why doesn't England, France, name me any of the big countries, Canada, Mexico? How comes nobody else is concerned about this except for us?
Yeah.
It's all Chinese drones, guys. I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
So it's not just DJI, it's all Chinese drones.
It would probably be harder for her legally just to name one company.
Here's the other thing. By 2030, drones imported into the U.S. must not contain any critical components manufactured in the PRC. So even like the one that the Randall Warnes, I can't remember the name of his company, the Anzu, a lot of those components, I'm sure, are coming from China. They're assembling it in Malaysia, and the same comes, for that that company.
One Bill has,
that Bill has, yeah.
Well, I mean, that gives them almost 6 years to make those components in Malaysia.
It does, but they're also, the tariffs that they're adding to them as well. So,
well, of course, the Malaysian drones do they have the 30% tariff, or is that only Chinese?
So that's a good question, Ron. Just because it has Chinese components, will it get that tariff? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or what you said critical or some components so we have to define what are.
Well, they do. There's a list.
Used.
Yeah, there's a list of all
the
components. Yeah.
Well, again, it's all just a bad situation all around, the way it's worded, the rules or whatever. I mean, you could make more of a mess of this if you tried.
If we had a couple of domestic manufacturers that were manufacturing not just commercial products but consumer drones as well, and they were trying to catch up to where the Chinese are at. Hey, that's what tariffs are all about. That's to help your domestic industry get up to speed. But we don't have that. So who are we helping?
Yeah. Hey, Mike Wright's asking, doesn't Skydio have any Chinese components in their drones?
I suspect that they do, but
they have until 2030 to get rid of them.
I don't know how you could build any electronic component without it have any electronic device without it having.
Let's go into this Defiance house and remove anything in Representative Defiance house that has a Chinese component in it. Take everything out that has anything Chinese in it, and I bet you she won't have a TV, a phone, a tablet. She'll have nothing.
It's not an iPhone. Let's say this is my iPhone. Okay, I have to toss that out. I have some ham radios made in China. Got to toss them out. It's
what if your car had a Chinese component in it?
And it does. Trust me.
Oh, it does. Yeah, all of our cars do. I mean, it's like, for example, I bought my truck in December, okay? I still don't have my second key fob yet, and it's because of this, okay? Because there's still a part shortage, and guess where it comes from?
Oh, China.
Okay. So, it's like, it's all, and Lauren said it, protectionism, all right? He put that, a comment in the chat. 100% right. This is what all this is, okay?
Well, protectionism isn't necessarily a bad thing in certain situations, but in this situation, there's nothing to protect. I mean, I don't know, if we had a domestic industry, it'd be one thing. Anyway,
and Representative Sonic and the other people's name is Bill. How many of their constituents are asking them to do this? They're doing something where the people that vote in office, nobody's even asking them to do this. This isn't like cutting taxes or stopping crime or stopping immigration. This is something nobody's asking for.
Yeah, there isn't people knocking on representatives' doors saying, you know what, you need to ban DJI drones.
Bill, when's the last time you saw a ban DJI protest in the streets?
Yeah, I don't see anybody holding up
signs. I think there's a couple of components here to this. Okay. Number one, I think it's popular for a politician of any persuasion now to be anti-China. Some of it for good reasons, some of it probably not. And I think that there's always been a suspicion of flying cameras, right? We've always had that, Joe Blow being able to put a camera up in the air, get the high ground. I think there's always been that kind of suspicion. And then it got really exacerbated by what happened in Ukraine. That Ukrainian war is showing how destructive even little domestic drones can be if they're used for nefarious means. And I suspect that you put all that together, and I think that's where this legislation is coming from.
I think you're right. Well, okay, you guys are old enough to remember, okay, Bell Telephone. And I'm going to go back in the 60s, okay?
Ma Bell?
Ma Bell, okay? And their monopoly that they had. I mean, it was all one big happy family, okay? Yep. And then all of a sudden, the federal government said, "What? No, time out, okay? This is antitrust. We got to break this up." So you had South Bell, you had Ohio Bell.
The baby bells, they used to call them, Bill.
The baby bells, exactly, Ron. Okay, they splintered it up, around the country because it was too big and too powerful in everything here. Okay, and this is kind of reminding me a little bit of that here. Okay, and just because prices were unequal, where it might be this price in the South, it might be this price in the North, might be this price out on the West Coast. It was just so.
That was back in the days where you could make a long distance call and it may be a $50 thing on the bill or whatever.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Used to call long distance in those days. It was outrageous.
Yeah, calling long distance was like, you better have a bankroll for that because it was
somebody had better died or something like that if you're gonna.
Yeah, it had to have been a.
Well, remember when you took your cell phone out of your hometown and you had to have roaming fees if you went, 10 miles that way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's just there's too much, as they said, rotten in Denmark. Okay, or it's like
Shakespeare again,
or as my dad used to say, it's like day old fish left on the counter overnight. Okay, it doesn't smell too good. All right, and none of this smells too good. But you know what? I agree. And I agree with Marcus. I know he said it last week too. It's a cause to be concerned. So please do contact your congressman. Okay. Don't because of what I'm about to say, don't stop from doing that. Okay. I really think this is going to get bogged down and it's not going to get passed is what I think is going to happen. They'll come up for a vote, but it's probably not going to get passed. Or if it does, it's going to be so watered down. It won't come back and affect us because, and like I said to somebody else, when I got into a chat with somebody on X, okay, I said, I have a friend of mine from back in high school, and he's very confrontational. Okay. It's a drop of a hat. It doesn't matter what I say. He always argues with me on Facebook. Okay. So, I put this out there about this and I said, you have no idea about, he talks on subjects like he's a subject matter expert and he has no clue about it, and I told him, I said, you don't understand. Okay. Thousands of people could lose their jobs and their livelihood if this goes through. Do you get that? Do you understand that?
Hey, my cousin Dre made a really good point in the chat there. He goes, AT&T built the infrastructure that caused the monopoly. DJI just made a better product. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah. DJI didn't do any monopolistic practices except make far and away the best consumer drones on the market. Yeah. And Marcus, I'm glad you clarified that because a lot of people, like I know Richard sent us a message. He thought he'd still be flying his Altel drones and his FEMI drones. This ban happened. No, they're all gone.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to say this, like I said, please, a couple takeaways here, before we wrap up. Okay. Number one, please still contact your congressmen and your senators on this. Okay. It's too important not to. And don't say it's not going to matter because when we all of us who are drone pilots speak as one voice about this, it will matter and it will make a difference. So go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'll contact Senator Bob Menendez in the courtroom while he's trying to get out of trouble.
Good luck on that,
Ron. Email
Ron.
right there.
Yeah, good luck on that. And I really, to be honest with you, I really wouldn't be overly concerned about this. So I know I've had a lot of questions, and one of the questions I've been asked this week multiple times, and I saw somebody in the chat, and I wanted to address that as well too. Should I buy a DJI drone right now? Absolutely. Don't hesitate. Do not hesitate to buy a DJI drone.
I was going to ask you when I should start selling all my drones. Give me the date where I should clear them out by.
Yeah.
Hey, Johnny Dronefly mentioned EXO in the chat. EXO passes himself off as an American company. Would EXO be able to get by this ban?
Good question.
Marcus has a congressman on the phone.
Yeah.
It was the boss I had to answer.
Okay. I thought of DJI. Bill, how about this? What if we sent a drone representative down to the first presidential debate between Biden and Trump, and be one of the questions? Okay, my question to you candidates is, what are you? Which one? Both of you. What are you going to do about the drone ban when it comes across your desk or whatever? And see the bill and see what they have to say.
Well, what's real interesting, and I'll say this for an example. I know our United States senators here in Florida, Marco Rubio and Scott. Okay,
Little Marco.
Marco.
Yeah.
I always call Little Marco. I say the same thing. Okay, I always call him Little Marco. Anyway, okay, they said about this, they will never. People have pressed them, and I saw somebody press Marco about this. And he moves on to another subject because, what is so, about, it's about why, what kind of data, what's sensitive about it? What goes on? He never answers that question. He moves on all the time. Okay.
Those politicians, Bill, they could bob and weave with the best of them.
Yeah. Well, Lauren's right. It's multi-million-dollar lobbyists. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not espionage. It's not, sensitive infrastructure. Heck, China knows our infrastructure like we know theirs, okay? There's no secrets. Okay?
Bill, you don't want to get a hold of all that footage. You have the fountain in front of your development, right?
Yeah, everybody's going to see that fountain.
One of the things, and I am so happy that I live in these United States of America, we're an open society, right? So in open society, almost anybody can find out anything except for, deep, dark military secrets, etc. Right. As opposed to, you look at a country like China, it's a closed society. So it's a lot easier for them to hide things from us than we do for them. Right. In other words, if one of us decided we wanted to move to China and go to work for a Chinese company, the chances are pretty much slim to none. But a Chinese person, if they were qualified, could come over and get a work visa in America, if they had the qualifications, and live here and work here just like anybody else. So there is a basic difference there, and I understand why there is that cause for concern. However, there is, as you guys so both eloquently spoke, there is no smoking gun with DJI, and what intelligence are they possibly gathering that can't be gathered out of every cell phone, spy satellites, let alone balloons flying across our country? So anyway, it's frustrating, and we all just have to do our best and act because our very hobby hangs in the balance.
Well, yeah, and about everybody over in communist China now knows all the details about Lucy. Okay. Everybody knows all the details about Lucy.
They know Lucy got refurbed last year.
Lucy got refurbed,
yeah.
And it's. I know it has strategic value. Okay,
yeah.
To the good folks, including our dear friend Ron Brown, Susan, and all the good folks in Margate. Okay, seriously.
They found out about the fishing pier
love those videos of Lucy.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Okay, seriously. Okay. We have fun, okay, and this is still kind of maybe on topic. We're gonna wrap up here in a second, but you know what? The three of us, when we go out there, if we're not having fun, I don't think we would do videos. Okay, right. We have fun when we do this. We enjoy this. Okay, I actually, I'll say this. When I had my little faux pas with the Mini when my camera overheated, still I knew what to do. I tried to let it cool down on its own. It wasn't going to. I just hit return to home on a controller. Boom, done. But still, it's fun. It's enjoyable. I get such a great kick out, and when I'm doing it in 4K and I put it up on YouTube and I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is, and I have Valerie come in to look at it. She's like, wow, this is good. This is really good. So, question of the day: what do you think of DJI Needs Our Help drone ban update? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.